It is estimated that 1 out of every 20,000 bills in circulation is counterfeit. That might seem like a small number, but just a single fake note can shake trust in the entire financial system. So, how is a bill made that can fool even seasoned experts? Let's take a look at how one of the world's most sophisticated counterfeits is created. It all starts with the paper, the foundation of any banknote. But this isn't regular paper like the kind you'd find at a local print shop. Genuine bills, like US dollars, are made from a precise blend, 75% cotton and 25% linen. This mix gives the paper a unique durability and a texture that is immediately recognizable by touch. Only a few companies in the world, such as Crane Paper Company in the United States, have the capacity to produce this material under exclusive government contracts. For counterfeiters, getting their hands on this paper is the first major obstacle, but also their first major victory. How do they do it? Through complex networks of shell companies, intermediaries, and black market connections. In some cases, counterfeiters purchase high-quality paper under seemingly legitimate reasons, like producing luxury stationery or special documents. In others, they resort to smuggling, moving paper shipments through ports and borders with forged documents. In the 1990s, for instance, it was discovered that certain operations in Asia were obtaining paper nearly identical to that used in US bills through suppliers in Hong Kong, who believed they were selling to legitimate printing companies. Each sheet is a blank canvas, but not an ordinary one. It must withstand scrutiny from cashiers, machines, and forensic experts alike. Paper is only the beginning. Ink is where counterfeiting becomes a modern form of alchemy. Real banknotes use specialized inks with unique properties. Some glow under ultraviolet light, others change color depending on the angle of the light, and all are designed to withstand the wear and tear of daily use. These formulas are trade secrets, developed by specialized companies that work under strict confidentiality agreements with governments. Counterfeiters, however, are not discouraged. Getting these inks requires a mix of ingenuity and resources. In some cases, counterfeiters bribe employees at legitimate suppliers to obtain small amounts of ink. In others, they invest in their own labs to replicate the formulas, analyzing real bills using spectroscopy equipment to break down their chemical composition. For example, in the 1990s, it was discovered that an operation in North Korea had managed to replicate the color-shifting pigment used in $100 bills, a feat that required access to cutting-edge technology and possibly industrial espionage against a Swiss company that manufactured the original ink. But having the right ink isn't enough. Application is just as critical. Real bills are printed using intaglio presses, massive machines that apply tons of pressure to embed ink into the paper, creating a raised texture that is nearly impossible to replicate without specialized equipment. Elite counterfeiters have managed to acquire versions of these machines, or even build their own replicas. Every detail, from the portrait of a president to the serial numbers, must be flawless, or the illusion falls apart. Modern bills are miniature fortresses, protected by layers of security features designed to frustrate counterfeiters. Watermarks, security threads, microprinting, fluorescent inks, each one is a challenge counterfeiters must overcome. Replicating these features is not just a matter of skill, it's a technological puzzle that demands patience, precision, and considerable resources. Watermarks, for example, are images embedded in the paper that only become visible when held up to the light. Creating them requires special molds during the paper manufacturing process, something counterfeiters have learned to imitate using custom pressing techniques. Security threads, those metallic strips embedded in the paper, present another challenge. Counterfeiters often use synthetic materials that mimic the shine and texture of the original thread, embedding them with microscopic precision. Microprinting is perhaps the most difficult feature to replicate. These letters and numbers are so small they can only be seen with a magnifying glass. On genuine bills, microprinting can be as fine as 1/140,000ths of an inch, a level of detail only the best printing houses can achieve. High-level counterfeiters invest in micro-engraving equipment and work in sterile environments to prevent dust or vibrations from ruining their work. Every security feature is a battle, and the best counterfeiters not only fight it, they sometimes win. This brings us to a deeper question. In a world where both real and fake money are constantly being printed, will there come a time when we can no longer tell if our money is real? Think about it. Every day, millions of bills pass through our hands, through ATMs, stores, and banks. How many of them are so perfectly copied that even experts can't spot the difference at first glance? The line between real and fake is becoming increasingly blurred. And in this game of deception, trust in money, the foundation of our economy, is what's truly at stake. Are we ready for a world where monetary truth is impossible to verify? But the story doesn't end there. In fact, this is where it gets fascinating. The most sophisticated counterfeiters do not aim for absolute perfection. On the contrary, they sometimes introduce tiny errors on purpose. A slightly thicker line on a light post, a barely noticeable gap next to a president's portrait, a serial number with a nearly invisible pattern. These details are not mistakes. They are secret signatures. Why would they do that? For several reasons. First, these imperfections allow counterfeiters to track their own bills in the black market, ensuring no one floods their network with cheap copies. Second, they act as a kind of internal code, a mark that only the creators can recognize. In the case of the North Korean supernotes from the 1990s, analysts discovered that the counterfeits had consistent flaws, such as a microscopic gap near Benjamin Franklin's face. These errors were so subtle they could only be detected under a microscope, yet they were enough to distinguish their bills from other imitations. It's a game of intelligence, where deception is as strategic as it is technical. Creating a fake bill is only half the battle. Making it circulate without raising suspicion is an art in itself. Counterfeiters don't just hand out stacks of cash to random people. They operate through complex networks designed to funnel the money into the global economy. These networks can involve anything from diplomatic pouches that bypass customs inspections to smugglers hiding bills in shipping containers, inside children's toys, hollowed-out books, or even sewn into rolls of fabric. Casinos are a particularly attractive destination. A counterfeiter can use high-denomination fake bills, like $100 notes, at low-stakes slot machines. They insert the bill, play a few rounds, receive a ticket, and exchange it for real money at the counter. In a matter of minutes, counterfeit money becomes legitimate earnings, leaving almost no trace. Other methods are even more daring. Counterfeit bills have been transported in diplomatic briefcases, protected by legal immunity that prevents airport inspections. They have also surfaced in black markets from Russia to Southeast Asia, where they are exchanged for illicit goods like weapons or drugs. The key is discretion. The money must move fast, but without drawing attention. Before a single counterfeit bill hits the street, it must pass a quality control process as meticulous as that of any official mint. There is no room for obvious mistakes. Each note is examined under ultraviolet light to check the correct glow of the inks, with high precision magnifiers to detect flaws in microprinting, and with spectroscopes to analyze the chemical composition of the paper and ink. Everything is scrutinized in detail, as if it were a museum-grade forgery. In operations like the one at Plant 62, this process takes place in near-sterile environments, more like a scientific lab than a clandestine print shop. That is because counterfeiters are not facing off against bank clerks, but against the forensic methods of the world's most sophisticated agencies, from the United States Secret Service to Interpol laboratories. A bill that fails this inspection will never see the light of day. Counterfeiting is not just a crime, it is a technological race. Every time a government updates its currency with new security features, a redesigned watermark, a more complex thread, a colour-shifting ink, counterfeiters see it as a new challenge, and they respond fast. When the United States redesigned its $100 bill in the 1990s, featuring a larger portrait of Franklin and multiple security upgrades, North Korean counterfeiters responded in under 2 years with disturbingly accurate copies. How did they do it? By combining industrial espionage, reverse engineering, and calculated boldness. Sometimes, they obtain technical specifications before the new bills are even released. Other times, they deconstruct originals with surgical precision. analysing each fibre under microscopes and light spectrums. This ability to adapt is why counterfeiting continues to exist. Every security innovation eventually becomes a challenge to overcome. But money counterfeiting is not a modern phenomenon. During World War II, the Nazis launched one of the boldest counterfeiting operations in history, Operation Bernhard. Their goal was not just to print bills, but to destabilise the British economy by flooding it with fake pounds. At the Sachsenhausen concentration camp, Jewish prisoners, including artists, engravers, and typographers, were forced to produce counterfeit notes so convincing they fooled banks and merchants across Europe. The results were so accurate that even years after the war, some of those bills were still circulating undetected. Operation Bernhard revealed how fake money can be used as an economic weapon. It also left a lasting warning. In times of war, counterfeiting currency can become an act of war, not just a crime. And that is how money counterfeiting operations really work. Tell me, what did you think of the process? Let me know in the comments. If you have not subscribed yet, now is the time. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Up next, you will find more content you are going to love. Just click on any of them. And enjoy. See you next time.